I want to tell you the 3 mistakes we need to avoid making when doing the pantry challenge and how to hack the challenge to save money on food all year round. I'm Kezia from The Whole Home, and my goal on the internet is to make low footprint living feel a bit less complicated and a bit more budget friendly. And the way we spend on food, the way we food budget, is a huge part of that. So you can subscribe here if you want more videos that help with that popping up in your feed. But we're gonna dive right into the 3 mistakes we need to avoid making on the pantry challenge, how we can hack it, and then exactly how we play it to save money year round, to hit our grocery budget on a lower than average food budget without stress, which is the goal, right? And back up, what is the pantry challenge? It's the idea, the challenge of shopping your pantry instead of the shops when it comes to food. I don't have a pantry, I don't know about you. I have 3 food cupboards and a fridge. Going to those first is the challenge. So shutting your doors, not going food shopping, and living off your pantry. Now, when I saw this challenge, I knew I live on bread and lentils. And that wasn't disappointing to me. That was entirely intentional. That was not a surprise to me. And it is part of how we stay on budget year round.
Okay, but was I right? Or was there something lurking in my pantry that was not already accounted for or in a meal plan? And this is what I found.
Okay, I am running around in between school clubs and all the different things, but I wanted to pull out everything we have in the pantry. And there were a few things I did not know were in there, which is unusual for me, but we have some crackers that we brought back from Germany. They're still crunchy. Then some prunes from when we needed prunes for digestive reasons. Some sauerkraut that I could not open. They gifted it to me. Still can't open it. We'll try and get that open and use that. A few sesame seeds from when I made a birthday dinner for my mom. Never used the rest.
And that was it. Other than that, everything was assigned to a week or was part of the meal plan. And I will go on and tell you how this is how we hack the
I
challenge.
think the pantry challenge is brilliant. Food waste is a huge issue, not knowing what we have in our house. Buying unintentionally without real purpose for what comes in can be a huge problem when it comes to planning. So I want to break down what I think is the way to hack the challenge for year-round savings, but we're going to start with 3 mistakes you need to avoid. Mistake number 1, don't do the pantry challenge if you don't know why you're doing it. There are many really, really good reasons to do a pantry challenge, to not go to the shops and to use what you already have in your house. You might have a cash flow situation. You actually need to not spend. So you're going into your food cupboards like a savings account and pulling from there instead. You might want to get out of a rut. We all get into food ruts, and it can be good now and again to force ourselves out of the rut. And so shopping a limited food source with maybe different items from what we would normally spend can get us out of a rut. We can find new creative meals, and that can be fun and needed. Also, stopping waste. Food waste is a huge problem with far-reaching ramifications, way more than our grocery budget, but it's a really good reason to dive into our food pantry, whatever you have, and look at the expiry dates. Remember, expiry dates are not everything. Smell the food, look at the food, but stopping waste is a massive reason to do this, to kind of take inventory of what is there and what might be wasted. Or just as a reset, if you're not really sure what's in your cupboards and you want to use it up before we start filling it again, a reset is another really good reason to do the pantry challenge. So there were many, many good reasons to do it, but it might not be the best budgeting choice unless we hack it. So mistake number 2 is don't do the pantry challenge without a plan for how to use the food that you find in the pantry. If you just dip in there meal by meal, you're not going to get nearly as far as if you take inventory of everything that is in there and work out how you can piece it together into meals. Otherwise, you're going to maybe use up the fun stuff or use up the things that make the rice a little bit more exciting, or you're not going to find ways to really string it out. So pull it out, make a plan, see how long you can go, or what couple of items you need to buy to make it go as far as you want it to go, or as far as it can go. Mistake number 3, don't use up everything in your pantry without asking yourself why it was there in the first place. If we're filling a pantry with food and we have a pantry or a cupboard to go to that we can live off without shopping, it might be an indication that we're not actually making a plan through the year. Now, you might fill your pantry very intentionally, maybe when food is on sale and you buy a little bit extra, it's within your budget to buy a bit extra, in that case, it's better than a savings account because you're buying food that is really discounted. More than money would gain interest left in a savings account. So that's a really smart way to fill your pantry potentially. But if you've accumulated food and you're not sure how you got there, it might be a sign that you're not planning well week to week. And a lack of planning and intentional purchasing is one major reason that people spend more than they want to through the year on food. So as you get everything out, look at why it got there in the first place. Is it because you shopped without a plan and you bought and it looked good and now it's in your pantry? Is it because you've planned for a lot of meals that you haven't ended up making? Is it because you buy a lot of things on sale that seems like a good plan, but then they don't end up getting used? Is it because it was a good price, you do use it, but you forgot it was there, and so you keep buying even though you have it in the pantry? Or is it because it was intentionally there? Why is the food there? And you especially want to ask this question of anything that has gone bad, anything that you had to throw out. How did that get here? If it got into our house and now we're throwing it away, we need to solve how it came into the house to make sure we're not throwing food away again. So do not do the challenge without really asking yourself, why do I have a pantry of food? Don't do the pantry challenge without using it to learn about you and your spending and your habits in ways that you can take into the year and use to save year round. What things could you really live without buying that you always buy? We all get into habits and ruts, and sometimes they can be expensive, and this can force us out of those. Or it might be you discover some really frugal meals. Oh well, we love beans and rice. We could incorporate that more often. Learn everything you can as you dive into your pantry. Because again, we can then take that and use that to save throughout the year. So here is my blueprint for how I would hack the pantry challenge. So once you know why you're doing it, then I would look at all the food. I would divide the food into 3 categories. We want to divide the food into things that need eating right now. So what is going on our meal plan for the next few days? Then what can we use to make meals in the next few weeks, and how can we piece it together? It's going to take some juggling to see how far we can get with this food, planning it out. Our third category, for the average person, I think there needs to be a third category, and this is going to be things to not necessarily use on the pantry challenge, and it's going to be more expensive items where if we have a cash flow need, we want to eat those things. But if actually we're trying to hack the system to save money ongoingly, we want to save those more expensive items, take inventory, know that they're there, use them, but spread them out. So for me, in my pantry, this would be almond butter. My husband can't eat peanuts, he needs almond butter. I could pull that forward and say, we're doing a pantry challenge, we're all gonna use the almond butter, but actually, it's better for me to say, okay, take note, we have 2 weeks worth of almond butter. I'm gonna go buy peanut butter for the other 4 people in the family, or we're just not gonna use a nut butter, depending on how you wanna play it. But actually have that third category of things that actually, if we dig a bit deeper, it doesn't make sense to use them on a pantry challenge if we're looking beyond just seeing how long we can take it before we go to the grocery store. So dividing food into those 3 categories. Use right now, build into the next week or few weeks of meal planning, and then the third category of actually stuff to keep saving, to know it's there, but to keep saving. And then make a meal plan. Meal planning is the single best thing we do throughout the year to be stress-free in sticking to our meal plan. You can see a video up top that is me making a meal plan step by step with all the different things that I do. But here's the thing, I'm basically doing a mini pantry challenge every week. And that is the best way, I think, to hack the pantry challenge. Unless you value having a lot of food in the pantry, which as an aside, I have a big bag of lentils and a big bag of flour. So I know I can always make a few dishes with a complete protein. They're there, I know they're there, I work through them and I rebuy them in bulk because they make quick and easy, simple meals. But we can jumpstart new habits with a single and longer pantry challenge. Learn, take stock, look at what's in your pantry, use what needs to be used, don't let anything go to waste, and make a plan to use things up. Then, start a mini pantry challenge every week. And here's what that is going to look like. Once the challenge is done, We're gonna buy food for the next week or 2 weeks or however often you want to shop, and everything comes into your house with a purpose. So we don't buy anything just because it was on sale. We don't buy anything just to have it. We don't buy anything because it looked good. We make a plan. And then everything comes in with a purpose. Then we use that through the week, but life happens. We'll miss a meal, we'll go out somewhere, we'll have to do something, or people will come over and they'll eat 2 meals worth of food, or things change. So when we go to make meal plan number 2, we're gonna start with a mini pantry challenge. You might not have flexibility in when you shop, but we can be flexible in what we buy. So we can go, ooh, okay, we've gone to the pantry, we actually have a day's worth of food left. So I'm only gonna buy for 6 days on this next meal plan that I make. What's going bad? What are my 3 categories? What needs to be used up right now? Okay, I'm gonna build that into my meal plan for the first couple of days of my new meal plan. What things do we still have in the pantry and the fridge that we can build into our meal plan for the week? Start building your meals there, then put in the rest of the meals. And then the 3rd category, what do I actually wanna leave in my pantry? Assess the pantry. Okay, what do I wanna leave in? We've got some chocolate chips. Great, we don't wanna just use those up. They're like use sparingly items. Great, okay. We've also got some extra rice. Okay, so we're gonna start building our meal plan around rice. Where can we put in a couple of rice meals to use that rice up? Then the next week, we're gonna do the same thing. Start with our mini pantry challenge. Can we build an extra meal from what we have? Okay, we've got some extra veggies in the fridge that need using up. We're gonna do a roast veg, pesto and lentil meal. That's one of my favorites for using up ends of veggies in the fridge. We're gonna make a soup, whatever it is. We're gonna use up the things we have first. Then we're gonna look at what's in our pantry that's not going bad right now, but we can use to bulk out the meal plan. And then what do we wanna leave in our pantry? So every week, we're going through this cycle of only buying food that we intentionally bring into the house. Every week, we're going to the pantry and saying, what do we wanna use? What do we actually intentionally want to keep there that has a purpose in the pantry? If we're buying things in advance, so 5 almond butters, say, in a package and it's a great price, label them for when they're supposed to be used financially for your budget. This is what I do. I got a voucher for money off cheese and I bought a lot of cheese, but I didn't use it all week 1. I labeled it. This is week 1, this is week 2, this is week 3. So when I come back and I'm making my 2nd week of meal plan after buying the cheese, oh, that's my cheese for the week. Okay, don't add it into my shopping list. I've got the cheese. That's to use this week. So every week we're going through, we're assessing what's in the pantry, which means nothing's going to waste because we're checking every week. It saves a ton in waste. It also saves a ton in impulse buying. I like to build a master meal list, and you can see that on this video here that helps me just quickly look at what meals our family loves to eat. So I can quickly put them into the meal plan and see, okay, I've got a lot of rice to use this week. What meals do we like with rice? Plug them in really easily. And then as you build them, don't go back to your ruts. Remember, what did you learn on the pantry challenge that maybe you don't need in your life? That is exactly how we play our pantry, cupboards, grocery budgeting, meal planning to stress-free, stay on a below average grocery budget through the year. Actually, while eating organic and as local and fair trade, fair farming practice food as we can, which is really important to me for how people and planet are treated in that process of buying our food. But it's by doing this mini pantry challenge, as it were, each week, knowing exactly what is in my kitchen, bringing everything in with a purpose, planning really well, and learning week on week as things change. So that is my advice. And if you want to stick around more, you can do a full meal plan for the week with me with exactly how I build my meal plan for the week and an example meal plan. You can also see everything we ate and spent in a week in a very real life video of a week in my life with 3 kids, what we ate and spent.